All right, so I had to give an actual like video review for this because this episode of Black Clover was pretty damn crazy, and I felt that video tribute will only do it right overall. So, my goodness, where do I start with this episode? Look, they have been hyping this episode up like crazy on Twitter. All the like different animators are talking about it like, oh, well, this is going to be the hypest episode and we've been building up to this forever and yada, 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 and all this crazy stuff. And so I went into it expecting pretty high, I had pretty good hopes over this and I was not let down. Like people felt like after I watched the episode, I went online, start seeing everybody's reviews like, oh, this sucked, the animation was horrible, yada yada yada, and I was just like, wait, am I watching the same anime episode that they're watching? Can't be right. So I went back and literally watched the episode again for a second time and was like, yeah, we're clearly not watching the same thing. And being optimistic, I was like, maybe I just like the show too much. I was like, no, let me go ahead and go look back and actually see maybe I'm tripping. So I went back and watched the Vado fight. And I was like, okay, now I see why people are tripping. But it didn't mean that the animation wasn't bad. Animation was clearly off the chain for this episode. People have to realize that if you're comparing like the fight scene to like Dragon Ball Super or other fight scenes in different anime, you have to realize that it wasn't going to be comparable. It's no way possible. First thing, this was Asta's first magic battle. Asta hasn't fought magic battles at all because why? He doesn't have magic. So all his battles have been up close. In order for Asta to get to somebody, he had to fight him. He had to fight him with his swords. So for animators, naturally, if they're having a fight up close, of course you can do more detail. It's not difficult to do a pain or animation panel when Asta's fighting up close because now you can show more detail and stuff like that. In order to do an actual magical battle, like him and the other guy, I can't remember his name right now, but the guy that he's fighting, they are literally moving around at supersonic speeds while using magic. Exactly how can that be shown perfectly besides the way that they did the actual animation, which was basically showing the outside terrain that they're running or moving across at full speed while flying, showing it as a blur because that's how quickly these characters are moving all of a sudden. Like as of right now at that point, minus the witch herself, they're the fastest characters in the show at that point. So they're running around during that battle at full tilt, showing off Asta's magical power for the first time, his demon magical power. And people were like, well, the animation looks all choppy and sloppy. It's like they're showing you how fast these guys are moving, how powerful their attacks are. Like when they showed literally a whole terrain of mountains being completely blown up. Like these guys weren't even fighting in the witch's forest at one point. That's how strong their magical attacks were. And it's like, my goodness, like they're really showing off Asta's demon power. And mind you, it's the first time. So to watch that battle go on and look at the magnitude of how quick they're moving around, how fast they're moving around, how powerful these guys are, I think it was done perfectly to basically bring it as a whole of how strong Asta's magic is and how strong it can become. Like the episode overall was done pretty good. The fight was good. Even when they had to go up close, when Asta started using the swords, the animation never dropped off. You can notice that when the actual fight starts to happen, when he's up close using his swords and shit like that, the animation is perfect. That's when you're able to see Asta's demon form. You can see the different colors of the eyes, one eye red, one eye green. You can see his sword. You can see the black wing and how his arm is covered in black darkness and all that stuff. You see the detail then. But of course, when they're flying around at like full tilt supersonic speeds, you're not going to be able to see perfect detail like that. So anybody has been watching anime and is like, oh, the animation was horrible, the animation sucked and stuff like that. You haven't been watching anime enough to understand the magnitude of that battle overall. So I just felt that this video needed to be done. Like the video really had to get out there to some people who were just being completely ignorant about how good the animation was for this episode. Like the ridiculous. And now I understand why people are hyping it up, why animators from different series and that's worked with the project of Black Clover was hyping it up. Because they're like, this magical battle is so intense that you can't even keep up with it. Basically, like the animation was made so that you're trying to grasp how quick and fast this battle is going on. So I enjoyed the episode. It makes you hype for next week to see exactly what's going to go on. Demon Asta was brought on perfectly, and everything about it was basically like, okay, now we know Asa's going to be that dude. So I'm looking forward to it. It was a pretty good episode, and yeah, trust me, there's going to be more about this show. This show has came a long way in about the year, close to a year and a half that it's been out, and I'm glad that some studio took over it so that the anime can keep going. Because as of right now, the anime is gearing towards one hell of a run of maybe another year or two, and it's been pretty good to watch overall. So yeah, trust me, this episode was pretty good. And just remember, this is only the beginning for Demon Asta, so we got a lot to look forward to see how much more he can do. All right, y'all. This is Black. Peace.